It was an ambush.
Now, this is a tragedy that many New Orleanians know, losing a loved one to gun violence. But one family lost 3 siblings in 2 separate shootings in less than a week. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Gun violence in New Orleans takes the lives of 3 siblings all in 1 week.
Now, the family tells us they were all shot and killed days apart. Their parents are devastated and desperate for any answers they can get. That and brought a lot of reports.
There are dozens of bullet holes in the homes at Carondelet and 8th Street, evidence of one of the 2 deadly shootings that killed 3 brothers in New Orleans. Brian, Brandon, and Bradley Veal were all killed within a single week.
I have complete empathy for the family. I can't imagine what they're going through.
William Murray lives just steps from where 30-year-old Brandon and 21-year-old Bradley were shot the evening of February 20th. A barrage of bullets hit his home, and the sound of at least 30 shots was captured on a neighbor's camera.
Uptight and nervous, to be honest. I haven't gotten over it. It's just that sound. You will never get that sound out of your head.
Caleb Frank heard the gunfire too and says he ran over to help.
It's just sometimes it's the right thing to do to make people know that there needs to be a little bit of reassurance around.
Neither brother survived, but the heartache is worse. Their parents were already planning a funeral for their middle brother, Brian Veal, who was shot and killed February 13th at Loyola and Washington in Central City. Family tells Eyewitness News that the brother's mother is going through a mental health emergency, and their father is struggling too. Police won't say if the shootings are connected, but neighbors and family both want justice served.
This has been a very, very hard year, and I don't ever want anybody to go through any of this.
In New Orleans, Devin Bartolotta, Eyewitness News.
Well, NOPD wouldn't comment on the case, saying it remains open and active. If you know anything, call Crime Stoppers or the Homicide Department.
Okay, guys, so, what a rough Black History Month. The most deadly Black History Month in recent recorded history when it comes to black people. And the biggest story during this Black History Month was attacks on Asians. Okay? That was the biggest story during this History Month. And it mostly centered around 2 cities, New York and San Francisco, or Silicon Valley. And I did several videos on Living Room Gangster about this, but many people were asking me to address this, and I guess you guys don't want to subscribe to Living Room Gangster. So I decided to come over here and do the video for y'all, because I had so many people asking me to address it from this channel. And you know what? I'm a man of the people. You guys support me, so, I'll make another video. I don't have no problem with that, man. I'm not even gonna go into that. I don't have no problem with it. I enjoy actually doing this. So salute to all you guys. So that's the biggest story of Black History Month, was how they never said who was doing it, but 99.9% of the stories I did, and if you know how we do on Living Room Gangster, we get in the weeds, we go city to city, we look at all the stories, we read all the articles, blah, blah, blah. 99.9999% of the suspects and all the stories that I saw were African Americans, the perpetrators. But also, in about 90% of them, of the attacks, the person took the Asian person's money. So I concluded that it was basically a robbery. The same thing that happens to black people all the time in this country, especially since the defund the police movement. Defund the police was the worst thing that ever happened to the black community. I mean, it made the black community, which was already not a safe place to live, just kind of unbearable to live in certain areas, because the police have had certain units cut. When you cut those anti-gun units, those patrols that go around and make it hard for the known thugs. These police, these gang units, these gang task force, they know all the gangsters in your neighborhood. They know all their tattoos, what their tattoos mean. They know their 7, 8 nicknames. They know all their addresses, where they hide out at, where they stay at. They know these guys like the back of their hand. So when they're not going to run up on your lawyer friend who lives next door or the doctor who lives down the street when there's a shooting and come ask him, did he have something to do with it? They know who did it. Okay, they know who's beefing. They know what clique is beefing with what clique. They know that that clique shot at that clique last night. They know that it's probably going to be retaliation today, yada, yada, yada. But a lot of these hate crimes, or what as they call them, hate crimes, in the Asian American community, most of them are robberies or just assaults or the knockout game. Something that white people know very well, the knockout game, where, you know, a brother sees a person, usually a senior citizen or a woman or somebody who's maybe handicapped, and they go up on them and they slug them in an attempt to see if they can knock them out with one punch. That's the knockout game. It does exist. It may not be like ESPN may, or the Olympics may not recognize it as an official game, but it exists. It happens. That being the case, that's a big portion of the attacks on Asians, it's hard for me to buy this hate crime crap. It's hard for me to buy this hate crime crap. It's hard for me to call it a hate crime when you walking around with $16,000 and some thugs run up and knock you over the head and take you $16,000. I mean, like, obviously some people got the drop on you. They knew you had some money on you. They knew you were going to have some money on you. Or maybe you pick up the money at a Chinese restaurant, or maybe you're the guy who picks up, or the woman who picks up the money at some nail salon and takes it to the bank. And the guy's been casing the joint for a while, and now they know that, you know, you'll be there to pick up the money at 12, and then they follow you out and they knock you upside the head and take the money. That's called a robbery. It's called a heist, not a hate crime. And white people and Hispanics and blacks deal with this stuff all the time. From you know, mostly black criminals and black thugs and black gang members. But for some reason, during Black History Month, it's been made that this is some kind of hate crime against Asians when it happens, when these things that happen to everybody else happen to Asians. Now what I want you to do, I want you to follow me on a journey down the gun memorial. What a deadly Black History Month this was. I don't want to hear nothing about no cop. Gosh, this was the deadly Black History Month. Let's go. And I want you guys to stop me when you see an Asian, okay? The first time you see an Asian, because the ultimate attack is murder by a gun. Being killed with the gun, like those 3 brothers, the 3 Veal brothers, within 1 week during Black History Month were killed. Stop me when you see an Asian. Okay? Stop me when you see an Asian. And the reason I'm doing this is because most of these people on here were killed by the same people who are doing these Asian attacks. And if you're going to sit there and make it seem like, well, these Asian people are being attacked for their race, and it's all being done by one group of people, we should see some Asians on this list with the other people who have been also attacked by this group of people in the ultimate of attacks. I mean, the attack of all attacks. This guy right here. He was killed. We did this story the other day. He was killed by a young brother at a basketball game. This cop, the young Wakandan, had just robbed somebody in the parking lot and was attempting to go inside of the basketball game. And they were going to let him in the basketball game because they didn't know he had previously committed the robbery. But all they wanted him to do is wear a mask like every other person. And even the one thing that's funny in these high school games, the players wear the masks on the court. All the players on the courts have on masks in the high school games. So he wanted to be the only person in the gym without a mask on, including the players. And they were like, nah, we can't let you do that. So he beat up an employee for the school that was trying to prevent him from going in. Then the officer came over and he gave the officer 2 to the chest and killed him right there on the spot. Laid his gun down and gave himself up and was arrested without incident. But remember, stop me when you see an Asian. Stop me when you see... Oh no, that's just a light-skinned chick. Man, what happened to her? Victim in fatal Walmart shooting had aspirations to study nursing, uncle says. Oh man, she was killed in Philadelphia. Outside of a Walmart. Wow. Remember, stop me when you see an Asian. Because they're supposed to be being attacked. From what I'm hearing, they're being attacked. And it's to a point where like they're being singled out, and this one group of people that's singling them out happens to be just isolated them as their targets. So it's really like, from what I'm hearing, is that like they're getting some special kind of treatment. Wow, this kid, 15, killed in Suitland. That's in my neck of the woods. That was definitely a brother that killed him. But what I'm hearing is they're being singled out, and I'm searching. I mean, like literally, I'm not even gonna lie, man. I haven't gone through this whole list. I did a few days here and there on my other channel, but I'm just not, haven't yet seen an Asian. But if you do, put the timestamp in the description box if you see an Asian on here. Put the timestamp on the description box, because I'm seeing a whole lot of brothers, man. Like a whole lot of brothers. Some white people and some Hispanics, but I'm seeing a whole lot. There go the Beal brothers, the Veal brothers. There they go. I'm just, Jesus Christ. You see more Asians at the basketball court. I mean, Jesus Christ, where are they? Is this a conspiracy? Is this that Illuminati thing y'all been telling me about? Where like the Illuminati, like anything you can't readily explain is the Illuminati. The powers that be, the deep state, they made it the biggest story in the country for a month, but they removed all the Asians who were murdered from the gun memorial. Is that one of these deep state things that y'all be talking about? Look, here goes the grandparents of that rapper. That rapper who got, his grandparents were killed and burned in a house fire over some beef he had in the street. This is the grandmother. The grandfather was also killed. Executed over some beef their grandson had. And each one of these people is a story. I mean, I really wish I could go and do a story on each one of these people, or at least just read, what happened to each one of these people. But I don't have time because I'm trying to find a needle in the haystack. I'm literally trying to find a needle in the haystack. Is this Asian? Is she Asian? Charoon? Okay. So we got this Charoon girl. Whitney Nicole Charoon. Oh, this was a murder-suicide. Okay, so she was killed. Woman, 25, killed in murder-suicide. Okay, this is a murder-suicide. She was killed in. Okay, so we found an Asian. It only took us back to go back to the 16th. So obviously, this proves that Asians are being attacked in this country and singled out by the criminal element. Murder suicide. She was killed. Investigators believe Whitney Charoon was shot and killed by a 29-year-old man identified by the coroner's office as Nan Truong. Oh, he's also Asian. Okay. Who then fatally shot himself. Okay, so she was killed by another Asian. So we'll scratch that. We'll scratch that from the list. I think that was that's like, what you call it, Asian on Asian crime. We'll scratch that one from the list. And you know how they say black on black crime doesn't exist? When you see, obviously, it's the most prevalent form of crime in this country as far as murder. It's the most, give me a percentage. Here's another thing I want to know. What percentage of people on this list do you think are black? I would like to know. What percentage of the people on this list do you think are black? Hey, this little kid. Man kills brother and nephew before shooting himself. So we got another suicide, but this guy killed his brother and his nephew on Valentine's Day. But what percentage of people on here do you think are African American? This is Harry Garcon. This is the guy. We did the story. You got to see this story. Go to Living Room Gangster. I'm not going to do this again, but he confronted some teens broke in his car one day, and the next day those same teens. Well, actually, you got to see this story. I'll put a link to this story in the description box. You have to see this story. This is one of the most amazing, sad, but just typically Wakandan stories you're ever going to see in your life. Harry Garcon. R.I.P., bro. Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I know people gonna be upset with me. How can you say that there's not a Asian? I looked on the news and that's what they said. Well, listen, this is the real news. All that other news is fake. Come here for the real news. Hit the like button too when you come here. We also appreciate all donations, super chats during premieres, Cash Apps, PayPals. We appreciate all that stuff. Let us know you appreciate us. Because I'm just like, oh my God, this is just sad, man. Seeing all these brothers and all these sisters too. Like literally more black women I've seen more black women on this list than white people. I've seen more black women on this list than total I've seen of white people, period. So many black women on this list, man. God, dog. Like, women not supposed to be getting shot in broad daylight. Like, these women are not being killed by their significant others. Like, this woman was one of 7 people shot in Philly in less than 24 hours. These people are getting shot standing outside at the bus stop. Okay? Many of these people are thugs, but the majority of them are just regular black folk. They were just victims of crimes, or there when some dude that was near them was getting shot at. How many more days left we got in February? How many more days left in February? Oh yeah, this is the girl, the boyfriend. This was, oh my God. Tommy Sotomayor had the footage of this on his website. Go to his website and see the footage of this. The dude recorded this. He killed his girlfriend and the girlfriend's mother in Dallas. Killed the girlfriend and the girlfriend's mother. And recorded it. I can't put that footage on here, but yeah, it's just very sad. So we're almost through the entire February. We had one Asian person killed with a gun, and that was a murder. Oh, what do we have here? Kevin Jiang.
U.S. Marshals expanding the nationwide hunt for the suspect in the murder of a Yale University graduate student. On Friday, police in New Haven obtained an arrest warrant charging MIT grad student Kiwan Fan with murder. Victim Kevin Jiang found shot to death on a New Haven street on February 6th. Fan was last seen 5 days later in Georgia.
Okay, so that's what happened to Kevin Jiang. All right, so he was killed by another Asian guy. So far, out of the hundreds and hundreds of people on this list, we've had 2 Asians, and both of them were killed by other Asians. But, the good soldier I am, man, I'm going to finish off the list. We're going to continue to go through all this. And, God, all these brothers, man. And you would think that the real story here would be the amount of black people that are murdered every day in this country. One would think that that was actually the real story. He kind of buried the lead there. Jesus Christ. And these kids right here. And they were not killed by their parents. These kids were not killed by their parents. These kids were killed just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But yeah, it seems like a reputable, respectable news organization would look at something like this and be like, wait a second, the story's not actually Asian people being pushed over by mentally ill homeless people in San Francisco, or Asian, nail salon employees, or Asian carryout employees being mugged while picking up the drop from the money drop from the business and take on their way to the bank. The real story would be All these brothers and sisters getting shot every month. But, you know, whatever. Get in the comment section, like, subscribe, donate. Peace. I'm out.